A boy had fallen in love with a woman. One night, when he went to meet her, she refused because she was afraid of her husband. The boy felt heartbroken and went outside crying. What happened next with the boy? We'll see further in the story. The movie opens with a middle-aged woman named Laura, who is a lawyer. Even though she already has 2 daughters, she fell in love with a man named John and built a new life with him. John also has a son, G2, who is a bright student and has come home for a vacation. John loves his son deeply, and despite Laura not being very welcoming, he still brings G2 into the house. As soon as G2 arrives, Laura is shocked. She doesn't want anyone to come between her and John. At home, G2 meets his father's second wife, Laura, and feels hurt because he blames his dad for his mother's death. During lunch, Laura's daughters give G2 a small gift, a toy kitchen set. But even after seeing the gift, G2 doesn't smile. Later, Laura tells her sister that she doesn't want G2 to stay too long in their house. The next afternoon, when Laura comes back from shopping, she sees the same toy kitchen lying outside, realizing that G2 must have thrown it away. When she enters the house, she finds G2 and John arguing. She understands their relationship is strained. After the fight, G2 storms out of the house. That evening, John tells Laura that maybe he made a mistake by bringing G2 there, but Laura reassures him that things will eventually settle down. Later, Laura tells John about the thrown away gift, and John says it's fine. The next day, when Laura returns from visiting her sister, she finds the house in chaos. Expensive things missing, windows broken, and everything scattered. Shocked, she calls John and the police. But the police find no evidence. While doing laundry, Laura discovers some of the stolen items hidden in G2's clothes. She realizes G2 was behind the theft. When G2 comes home, Laura confronts him. At first, he pretends to be innocent, but when she threatens to call the police, he admits it. Laura then tells him she won't report him, but only if he behaves well with everyone at home. From then on, G2 listens to Laura and starts acting nicely with the family. Seeing this, both John and Laura are happy. One day, the whole family goes to a party. G2 spends time chatting warmly with his sisters, which makes John happy. G2 now seems more connected with the family. The next day, G2 brings his girlfriend, Amanda, home and introduces her to Laura. Laura hesitates for a moment, but allows G2 to take Amanda to his room. G2 then starts romancing Amanda in his room, while Laura hears everything from outside. Feeling disturbed, Laura can't sleep all night. Out of frustration and emotional turmoil, she goes to John and tries to seduce him. The next day, when the family goes out for a picnic, everyone is enjoying themselves, but Laura stays busy with her own work. G2 comes over and asks Laura to join them, and she agrees. They both head to the pond to bathe, where Laura's 2 daughters are already playing. G2 steps into the water first, and then Laura follows him in. Seeing G2, Laura begins to feel attracted to him. She splashes water at him playfully, and G2 splashes her back. The two start enjoying themselves, throwing water at each other, while the girls join in too, splashing both their mother and G2. This way, Laura and G2's first meeting turns out to be a pleasant one. After finishing their bath, they sit by the pond and talk for a while. As evening falls, G2, Laura, and the 2 daughters return home together. On the way, the girls grow sleepy. G2 gently carries them to their room and tucks them into bed. Then Laura and G2 sit together, feeling as if they were being drawn closer and closer to each other. Talk for a while and have a drink. While talking, Laura notices a tattoo on G2's hand that she really likes. She tells him she wants the same design. Since G2 knows how to make tattoos, he draws one on Laura's hand, which makes her happy. Then the two go swimming together. At this point, we see that G2 has truly blended well with the family. The next day, there's a party at their house with some relatives visiting. John is busy chatting with his family members, but Laura feels bored. She plays some music and starts dancing. When John doesn't pay any attention to her, Laura feels hurt and goes downstairs to sit alone. Soon G2 arrives and starts talking to her. He invites her out for a drink, and Laura agrees because somewhere in her heart, she has begun to feel something for G2. They go to a club together where they drink and chat, but then G2 receives a message from his girlfriend. He tells Laura that he has to leave. Before he goes, Laura kisses him. G2 feels awkward but doesn't say anything, quietly walking away. That night, when Laura comes home, John gets angry and tells her she should have at least taken her phone with her. After this, Laura can't stop thinking about G2. She can't sleep at night because what happened with G2 bothers her, yet she deeply longs for him. Using the excuse of apologizing, she goes to G2's room late at night. G2 is shocked to see Laura there at such an hour. Before he can say anything, the look in her eyes silences him. Laura sits beside him and begins showing him affection. At first, G2 tries to control himself, but eventually, he too gives in to passion. The two end up making love. Afterwards, without saying a word, Laura returns to her own room. Laura is very happy this morning after meeting G2 last night. She was going somewhere with John. John is very happy to see Laura. Laura and John leave for office together. When Laura reaches office, she finds Jitu's girlfriend there who was looking sad because her boyfriend had left her. Laura was not able to understand how to make Jitu understand. She herself was madly in love with Jitu. Still, Laura assures her and sends her home. When Laura returns home at night, she finds Jitu talking to his daughters. Laura becomes very happy with this. She was eager to fall in love with Jitu. One day, when Laura was romancing with Jitu, John returns from his office. John starts searching for Laura inside the house, but Laura was with Jitu. John sees Laura's daughters in the house. John asks them about Laura. Then Laura hears John's voice. She quickly comes out of the room and meets John. John is shocked. No clue where Laura was. The next day, while sitting with John, Laura keeps thinking about the previous night and feels strange about it. Later, Laura buys a laptop for Jitu. John gets upset, saying, "He's my son. It's my responsibility to do that." Laura explains, "It doesn't matter whether you buy it or I do. It's the same thing." John accepts this and feels happy again. From then on, Laura starts living a double life, spending time with Jitu when John is away and being with John when Jitu is not around. One day, Jitu asks Laura some personal questions and secretly records her answers. Laura's life continues like this, enjoying happiness with both men until a turning point arrives. The next day is Laura's daughter's birthday, and there's a big party at their house. While everyone is busy with the celebration, Jitu repeatedly comes close to Laura. At one moment, he even kisses her neck. Unfortunately, Laura's sister sees this. Shocked and annoyed, Laura gets angry with Jitu and quickly follows her sister, worried that she might expose the secret. Laura becomes anxious, realizing the risk that her sister might tell everyone the truth. She begins to wonder how she can hide this dark secret, not knowing what to do next. Laura's mood gets even worse, and she snaps at Jitu, which makes him upset because she had already told him to stay away from her. Feeling hurt, Jitu climbs up a nearby tree. Everyone tries to stop him from doing anything reckless, but since Jitu was in a bad mood, he jumps down from the tree and pretends to be unconscious. Everyone rushes toward him. When John gets to him in a panic, Jitu says he can't even move his legs, which makes John even more terrified. But suddenly, Jitu bursts out laughing, and it's revealed that he was just joking. Seeing this, John gets angry at him. That night, Laura and John talk about Jitu. John admits that he feels like Jitu has never really accepted his family. The next day, Laura meets Jitu and tells him to stop everything that's been going on. She also warns him not to tell John about anything that's happened between them. But Jitu doesn't care at all and goes back home. Later, when Laura returns home, she finds John and Jitu talking. John tells his son he's planning to take him on a trip so they can spend some time together. He also mentions that his sister called, which makes Annie nervous. She's afraid her sister might reveal everything. That night, Laura's daughter asks her why they can't go along with Dad on the trip. Laura tells her it's because the three of them don't really belong there. That same night, John and Jitu leave for their trip. The next day, Laura goes to her sister's house, but her sister refuses to even speak with her. Annie becomes even more anxious and tries to explain to her sister, saying, "I've already ended my relationship with Jitu, and he's not going to be with me anymore." But her sister doesn't want to hear a word of it and tells her to leave. Depressed, Laura heads back home, but on the way, she gets into an accident. Luckily, she isn't hurt. When she finally gets home, she's shocked to see John and Jitu there because they weren't supposed to be back for another week. Annie tries to avoid John's eyes, but John sits her down and tells her he has decided to send Jitu to boarding school. John also says Jitu has told him everything. When John asks if it's true, Laura denies everything and insists nothing happened. She tries to convince John that Jitu is lying just to drive them apart. She even brings up the theft incident to make her point. John believes her, especially since Laura breaks down in fake tears. He hugs her and they kiss. Seizing the chance, Laura destroys all the tape recordings Jitu had made so no one will ever know about their affair. The next morning, John is upset. He and Laura try to talk to Jitu, and John tells him it's wrong to make such serious accusations. Jitu realizes this is all part of Laura's plan. He insists he's not lying and tells Laura to admit the truth, but she stays silent. When Laura approaches him afterward, Jitu spits in her face and storms off. Laura says he can't live there anymore. John is deeply troubled and doesn't know what to do, so the next day, he decides to send Jitu away to boarding school. The next day, Jitu leaves home and goes to boarding school. Laura's daughter feels very upset about it, and even John, who personally dropped Jitu off, misses him deeply and becomes sad. John thinks to himself that he will visit Jitu the next day. One day, Laura goes to Jitu's boarding school to meet him, but Jitu is angry with her. He tells Laura harshly that she should confess everything to John. Laura refuses, saying she can't do that. Jitu threatens that he will file a complaint with the police because he wants to protect his bond with his father and doesn't want anyone to come between them. But Laura, being a lawyer herself, tells Jitu, "You can go to the police if you want, but it won't help. In fact, it will backfire on you. She then makes him an offer. If Jita tells John that everything he said was a lie, he can return home and live with him again. But Jita wants John to know the truth about Laura because she has had affairs with other men as well. Sadly, Jita feels powerless and unable to expose her. A few days later, during a Christmas party at John's house, Laura is busy with chores when Jita secretly sneaks into the house. Laura catches him. Jita pleads with her, saying he just wants to see his father and tell him the truth. He begs desperately, but Laura refuses to let him inside. Heartbroken, Jitu is forced to leave. Outside the house, he cries for his father, feeling completely helpless. Yet Laura shows no mercy. Some days later, Laura's birthday arrives, and she celebrates it with a party. Her sister is there too, showing that the sisters have reconciled. But in the middle of the party, John receives a call from the school. They tell him Jitu has been missing since Christmas and hasn't returned. John doesn't take it too seriously at first, assuming Jita may have gone out with his friends. He continues enjoying the party. But when Laura hears this, she becomes anxious because she knows the last time she saw Jitu was on Christmas. Just then, John looks distraught. Laura asks him why he looks so upset. John reveals, the police called. They found our son's dead body. I'm going to the station. Laura insists on coming with him, but John refuses. Restless at home, Laura waits until John returns. When he does, he explains that Jitu's frozen body was found in the forest. He had apparently been waiting there for hours, hoping to see his father, but froze to death in the snow. Hearing this, Laura breaks down in tears. Deep inside, she knows that she was partly responsible for his death. John, on the other hand, blames himself, saying, if only I hadn't sent him to boarding school. When Laura tries to comfort him, John lashes out in anger because somewhere inside, he now realizes that Jitu was telling the truth all along. Finally, the family attends Jitu's funeral. With grief hanging over everyone, the movie ends.